Good morning, Jagan. Namaste, everyone. We are right now listening to a chant from Thai, and this is called the chant of compassion. So I'll just reduce the volume. So with this chant as the background, let's try and ingather our consciousness like we had tried last time to just focus on 5 breaths. So maybe we got the time during the week to give ourselves a few moments, maybe not. But let's do it again. 5 breaths with 100% focus that is possible for me. Most likely not. Let's give ourselves another 5 breaths, starting again. Full focus. Let's not leave the breath. Take it from full, in breath till full out breath. It's like a handing over of one breath to the other that we have to do. So breathing in. Yes. Beginning with the harmony circle, invoking Mother's presence and praying for clarity and expansion. So, did you get a chance to practice these 5 breaths, Jagan, if I may ask you?
Um, Morning, ma'am. Oh, sorry, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was saying that, did you get a chance to practice these 5 breaths as we had
Yes,
started? Do you see any change or it's too early
yes.
to ask?
No, so I've tried this 4 out of the last 5 days, and the first breath is still like I'm losing focus. But now, like after the first breath, the second, third, and fourth, and even the fifth, until I breathe in, is like I'm able to hold, I'm able to stay with it. Yeah. Only issue is that I get I get proud very easily, like my mind. So the moment the third one, is successful, I'm like the mind. It's really happy. It tells me that, oh, aa gaya, tere ko aa gaya.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I have to control it and then go with
yeah,
the flow
yeah,
and pass.
yeah, yeah. Good observation. So if we feel okay, we can make 5 breaths 7 now, or 7, then 10, right? Because technically, see what the mind is being proud at. 5 breaths of focus, right? It's very sorry state of affairs, na?
Yes,
So
actually.
अगर 5 में one feels कि okay, a little bit more stability is there, let's make it
Mhm.
7 this week and see how that goes. Hmm?
Yes, sure.
Hmm. So, yeah, so although there's no fixed topic for discussion today, And I remember that we were reading something on remembrance when we left last time. So we could also finish that. But before we did that, I wanted to ask you if you had any questions or anything before we begin.
No, ma'am.
Oh,
No. Like currently, no.
perfect. So I don't know if you'll remember, but I had also kind of it slipped my mind till this morning that we were reading this, but we could not finish it because there were questions.
Yes.
So the question asked, somebody had asked a question to the mother and she was replying. If you want to read it, you can, otherwise, no. Would you like to read it aloud, Jagan?
Absolutely. Sure. The incarnate word. Sweet mother, how can one feel the divine presence constantly? Mother asks, why not? Um, but how can one do it? The mother asks again, but I'm asking why one should not feel it. Instead of asking the question how to feel it, I ask the question, why do you do that you don't feel it? What do you do that you don't feel it? There is no reason not to feel the divine presence. Once you have felt it, even once, you should be capable of feeling it all always. For it is there. It is a fact. It is only our ignorance which makes us unaware of it. But if we become conscious, why should we not always be conscious? Why forget something one has learned? When one has had the experience, why forget it? It is simply a bad habit. That's all. You see, there is something which is a fact. That's to say, it is. But we are unaware of it and do not know it. But after we become conscious and know it, we should, why should we still forget it? Does it make sense? It's quite simply because we are not convinced that once one has met the divine, one can't forget him anymore. I'll just read that sentence one more time. It's quite simply because we are not convinced that one has met the divine, one can't forget him anymore. That one's the divine. Okay, we are on the contrary full of stupid ideas which say, oh yes, it's very well once like that, but the rest of the time it will be as usual. So there is no reason why it may not begin again. Not convinced. Shall I read that too? Okay. But if we know that we did not know something, we were ignorant, then the moment we have the knowledge, I'm sincerely asking, how can one manage to forget? One might not know something. That is a fact. There are countless things one doesn't know. But the moment one knows them, the minute one has the experience, how can one manage to forget? Within yourself, you have the divine presence. You know nothing about it for all kinds of reasons. But still, the chief reason is that you are in a state of ignorance. Yet suddenly, by a clicking of circumstances, you become conscious of this divine presence. That is before, sorry, that is, you are before a fact. It is not imagination. It is a fact. It's something which exists. Then how do you manage to forget it once you have known it?
Yes, thank you so much again. Anything you would want to say about this? Any reflections, anything? You understood the question, right?
Yes. It's like you know this question actually questions me. Like, I'm questioning myself reading this, that not just with the divine, but anything, anything that is important, or anything that is vital in life to learn. Why is it necessary that I have to write it down? Why is it necessary that I have to, you know constantly do it to make myself, to convince myself that, uh, okay, you did this like 100 times, so now you're good at it. Why not just do it once and just keep that habit with me? Some words, some sentences I've read twice, but I couldn't quite grasp it. Uh,
We can, yeah, we'll go over it again. And definitely. Yeah. So again, the question is that how can we feel the divine presence constantly? It's like we all know that, everybody says that divine lives in me, right? Like I am the divine. We have heard it, but often it feels more like a joke, right? That yeah, I'm a divine. Ha, ha. Okay, now let's have a sandwich. Like there's no reality to it in our daily existence. So, overall, what mother was trying to say here, what I understood was that one thing is that you don't know, right? You don't know that this is happening or this is there, or, say there is outside your house, there is a stream of water, right? Like there's a river flowing. So, whenever you want, you can just step out, fill the water, and come back in.
yes.
So, if one says, how do I keep, I'm craving for water and I know the river is there, but why can't I remember it? So if somebody would ask us that, we would say, maybe you're a bit crazy, right? Like if you crave for water and you know there's a river outside your door, why would you forget it, right? Like maybe there's some wiring defect or something. Maybe you have Alzheimer's. Write it down so that you'll remember, right? And yet, when I ask this question that how do I constantly not remember the divine? In that, we don't question our brains, right? We don't question that what's wrong with us because, like Mother says, and it is true that to any degree, we've all been touched by grace, right? In sickness, during challenges and stuff, and yet we want to push it back, right? We say that this is my real life, this real laptop, real lamp. I am
Yes.
hungry, this is real, and yet what I experienced that was for special moments, I don't
Right.
make it my, I don't include it as part of my real life.
Right.
So Mother has said, and a lot of other masters and mystics, that unless that becomes at least, I mean, rather it should be more, but if that it doesn't become as real as this is for you, this is my hand, I'm holding it. So this was my experience. I experienced it. I know it's true. They say that your journey has not begun yet because you're not believing in it. It's more like an entertainment. It's more like a mystery. It's more like a thought. So right now you're just playing around with it because it is more real than anything else that is possible. So when somebody is asking, how do I remember it constantly? The main answer is, how do you forget it? You must question that how do you forget? Because the things that are important to you, right? Say if we enter a house for the first time, if somebody points us, okay, where's the washroom there? Or where's the switch of the light there? We don't forget that, right? Like we're like, okay, I know, I know, it's like it's so common. So
Yes.
that was the crux. So now we can go over the line.
consciously, right?
So how can one do it is the question. So it's saying, but I'm asking why one should not feel it, right? Why it is I who says that that wasn't real and this is. So there's something that needs to change with me, right? So instead of asking the question how to feel it, I ask the question, what do you do that you don't feel it? So there's something in me which tells me that, okay, right now I can think about that, not right now. Right now I have to, I don't know, wash clothes, make breakfast, and I keep pushing it aside, right? For example, there is no
Yes.
reason not to feel the divine. Once you have felt it, even once, the divine presence, you should be capable of feeling it always, for it is there. It is a fact. It is only our ignorance which makes us unaware of it. But if we become conscious, why should we not always be conscious? Why forget something one has learned when one has had the experience? Why forget it? It's simply a bad habit, that's also for the one who has not ever experienced divine presence or love. If he was to ask this question, okay, fine, right? Like you haven't touched that face ever. But even for 2 seconds, if you have totally felt in yourself that yes, there are things taken care of, there are things bigger than me. And if you are still forgetting it, one must question one own self that why, right? Rather, Mother says that one must keep going back to that feeling, that experience, not really a feeling, and keep trying to solidify it. And that's how it holds the ground more stronger and stronger. That I know this happened, but I also know that this is my truth, right? I'm the one who sees, I'm the one who experiences, and I know I'm taken care of. So, this is also a habit that I will have to incorporate for myself because forgetting is like a slippery slope. If I'm walking on ice, I don't have to prepare myself how to fall, right? But if I don't want to fall, I have to have snow boots and maybe things to hold on or maybe spread salt, right?
Yes.
So forgetting is a slippery slope. Okay, if I walk, I know I'll forget, I'll slip if I am totally unaware. But
Yes.
if I become aware, I can have those tools, those practices, those modalities to keep myself, prevent myself from falling. I might still fall, but slowly, slowly, with more consciousness, it will become better. So, anything in this first one that you didn't understand? Any line?
No, now that you're explaining this with the examples, I at least my understanding is this is like if I'm walking on the ice and I automatically remember that I shouldn't fall down, it's happening subconsciously. It's not happening like other thoughts like what am I going to do today. It's different. It's a different thought to that because it happens in the background and very subtly, but it happens for sure. So normally with the divine, so far it's like remembering it. Okay, yeah, भगवान है. ठीक है, अभी क्या करना है इसके बाद? And then I go back to the other, switch to the other work. But now it's like this, it's different. So I have to, like, this needs to be a habit that happens subconsciously. So there is
It is
divine.
happening subconsciously. I have to
Yeah.
first start adopting it consciously. So now, knowing that how snow works, when you know it has snowed, you don't walk outside barefoot, right? You don't walk outside and just say, मुझे तो याद आ ही जाएगा या मेरी body तो used to हो ही गई है. No, you dress up, you wear your snow boots, right? And when you step out, you look, right? You first assess that, okay, this looks okay, I can walk, or no, this looks slippery, I should be careful. So, although it's happening subconsciously now, but when it was your first snow, you did a lot of things consciously to make it subconscious. You know what I'm saying? When we start to learn to drive, it seems crazy, right? कि कहाँ देखूं, इधर भी शीशा, इधर भी शीशा, इधर भी, you know how they say कि किस किस चीज को do I continue, right? It's so tough, my God, mind boggling for the first time when somebody is teaching you. It seems
Yes.
like too much. And yet,
Yes.
we don't even realize when that happens that somebody, you're driving and somebody's like, kahan pahunche? You're like, oh, wait, I'll just tell you, right? You're not even there in the car.
Yes.
But before the subconscious happens, the conscious needs to happen for it to go into the subconscious.
Right.
So right now, my conscious has been that अरे खुद मुझे याद आएगा, है ना? खुद हो जाएगा, खुद भी होगा, बट बहुत स्लो प्रोसेस है खुद होने का. खुद तो चल ही रहा है, बट अगर मुझे फास्ट करना है, इफ द स्पीड इज नॉट इनफ फॉर मी, तब आई हैव टू कॉन्शियसली से ओके दिस आई विल डू. So that's the
Right.
thing. Because that's, I would also say, a mind's trick to tell me कि अरे ये तो सारी चीजें खुद होती हैं, अरे हमें थोड़ा कुछ करना है, you know. So we
Yes.
pick up those things. But if we have to be clever, let's be clever here, right? कि कैसे करूँ, कैसे ना भूलूं.
Yes.
So, yeah.
तो सबकॉन्शियसली पहले बोलना पड़ता है.
Consciously पहले बोलना पड़ता
नहीं,
है
सॉरी,
ना.
यस यस.
हाँ.
कॉन्शियसली बोलना पड़ता है एंड देन
हाँ.
इट स्विचेस टू सबकॉन्शियसनेस.
हाँ, मतलब once we
मतलब हमेशा
master
याद रखना
anything,
पड़ता
है ना. जैसे अब ड्राइविंग का एग्जाम्पल आई थिंक काफी अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है कि शुरू में तो काफी एकदम से विजिलेंस चाहिए होती है ना, टू गेट आवर माइंड सेट. आई डोंट नो आपको चाहिए थी कि
है. यस.
नहीं,
यस.
बट तो उस हिसाब से, एंड दैट इज ट्रू फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, राइट? लाइक हाउ व्हेन अ चाइल्ड इज लर्निंग टू राइट, यू नो, पहले वो 2 मिनट पेन उसी को ही पकड़ने की देखते हैं कि मैं पकड़ूं
यस.
कैसे, फिर अपना हाथ रखता है. एंड आफ्टर लाइक 2 months when you see them, he holds and he's writing, है ना. तो शुरू में करा, है ना, उसके
यस.
बाद में वो बैठ गया और फिर उतर गया.
यस. ओके. ओके. सो वो उसको जब भी अप्रोच करता है, इट विल हैपन सबकॉन्शियसली दैट ओके, दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव लर्नड, एंड देन सबकॉन्शियसली गोस विद द फ्लो.
हाँ, बिकॉज अब उसको वो कॉन्शियस एफर्ट डालने की जरूरत नहीं है ना. अब उसको ये चीज पता चल गई है कि पेन को कैसे पकड़ना है. शुरू में तो जब
यस.
पेन को पकड़ेगा वो खाएगा, है ना, कि ये है क्या. धीरे धीरे उसको बताएंगे कि अरे अरे ये खाने की चीज नहीं है, इससे लिखते हैं, ये देखो ऐसे पकड़ते हैं, है ना. बट इफ यू
यस.
जस्ट विजुअलाइज, इफ यू हैव एवर सीन अ चाइल्ड, यू नो, ग्रो इन दीज
यस.
स्टेजेस, तो उस
यस.
हिसाब से when I don't know what to do with something, I will do anything. But when I
यस.
know कि now this is what I have to do, first I have to make effort for it, right?
यस.
और उसके बाद में जब मैं एफर्ट करना मेरी आदत बन जाएगी कि हाँ इसको ऐसे करना है, फिर मुझे सेम एक्टिविटी के लिए आई डोंट नीड टू पुट इन एनी. नाउ दैट इज माई हैबिट दैट फ्लोज नेचुरली. कि अब आपको स्नो बूट्स पहनने के लिए इन द स्नो नोबडी हैज टू प्रॉम्प्ट, राइट? You see the
यस.
snow, you just quick, you choose, your body just chooses snow boots. You don't have to stand there कि अच्छा अब क्या करूं, है ना, मतलब it's automatic. But till it
राइट.
becomes automatic, it's a manual shift. So manually karo in that way. Hi Sham.
Yeah, hello Taru.
So Sham, we had actually, you know, last time we were reading something on remembrance in last
Mm.
study circle. So we had left it incomplete, and but it was a good one, so I thought we'll just complete it. Okay, so we've just gone through the first paragraph. We can read it again together. Like you can read it if you have the capacity, and then we'll take up the second
Yeah,
one. So
but कहाँ
this
से?
is how it starts. Basically, just for you, this is how it starts. That's the question.
Okay, sweet mother, how can one feel the divine presence constantly? Why not? But how can one do it? But I'm asking why one should not feel it. Instead of asking the question how to feel it, I ask the just one moment. If we have this slide, I ask the question, what do you do that you don't feel it? There is no reason not to feel the divine presence. Once you have felt it, even once, you should be capable of feeling it always, for it is there. It is a fact, it is only our ignorance which makes us unaware of it. But if we become conscious, we why should we not always be conscious? Why forget something one has learned when one has had the experience? Why forget it? It is simply a bad habit, that's all. You see, there is something which is a fact, that's to say, it is, but we are unaware of it and do not know it. But after we become conscious and know it, why should we still forget it? Does it make sense? It is quite simply because we are not convinced that once one has met the divine, one can't forget him anymore. We are, on the contrary, full of stupid ideas which say, oh, yes, it's very well, once like that, but the rest of the time it will be as usual. So there is no reason why it may not begin again. Yeah, Taru, you are not audible. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that. I was saying that so we had gone through the first paragraph in one, in which mother basically is saying that it's no, the right question is not how do I remember, but the right question is how do I forget, right? Something that I know exists. How do I keep forgetting it? I must ask myself that. So we were just reflecting on that. So if you have anything from first paragraph, you can share and then we'll go on this.
Yeah, Taru, we do have our own fleeting moments, okay, when we feel some purity and we feel an element of sincerity, but then it's all gone after quite some time. Okay. And those fleeting moments they keep coming again and again, but we just ignore it, or maybe we are so much occupied in our daily day-to-day life that we keep forgetting.
Actually, what we were discussing in yesterday's circle, right? Don't you think it's pointing a bit towards that, right? Like, how do I forget? How do I forget? And but the fact is, I do keep forgetting, right? If something happens to me, I learn a lesson, and yet in the future, I forget that the same power rules, right? So it's somehow, I think it's going there again.
Yeah, it's
And
an attitudinal problem
yeah,
that I can say.
yeah,
About me, I can say that it's an attitudinal problem.
yeah. There's no just about you, right? Every story is the same. So what
Mhm.
is true for you is true for all, right? We are all in the same boat. So basically what she's pointing here is, but if we become conscious, why should we not always be conscious? One must reflect on that and question that, right? That if I say कि उसकी मर्जी के बिना पत्ता भी नहीं हिलता, for example, then why do I keep forgetting, right? Because every time I feel scared, anxious, anything, that means I've forgotten. So that's what she's saying, that why do we forget? It's just a bad habit, that's all. So that's how she ends this paragraph. So just going to the next one. So you see there is something which is a fact, that's to say it is, but we are unaware of it and do not know it. So firstly, we don't know, but after we become conscious and know it, why should we still forget it? Does it make sense? It's quite simply because we are not convinced that once one had met the divine, one can't forget him anymore. We are, on the contrary, full of stupid ideas which say, oh, yes, it's very well once like that, but the rest of the time it will be as usual. So there is no reason why it may not begin again. Yeah, so basically, we have our moments, right? We have had experiences, we have had moments in which we were touched with grace. We could feel the greater part, how life is not so small. There are things bigger than that. We have seen that. And yet we say that, okay, that was a special moment, but my life is this. So this is being called as a stupid idea that I take up, but that is not true. The more these fleeting moments become my regular moments, life changes a lot, right? But I think first life has to change for that to become my absolute reality. So we keep, you know, shrugging it under the carpet. Oh, it happened. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. But let me focus on what I'm doing right now. I don't keep going back to it and drive energy and faith and certitude from those moments, which it is said that we should. So, yes, Jagat.
Mm. Ma'am, earlier you were giving this pen example, right? Like how children, when they on the first day, they hold the pen, they try to get a grip of it, they taste it. Some people taste it, and then after a couple of months, it becomes a habit. So it took them a couple of months, but in this, mother is saying that if it happens once, then how can one forget? So not just this habit, but any habit for that reason, it always takes more than one try to remember, for me at least. So how does one like really remember divine just by remembering once? Because in the other examples, it looks like I'm practicing more than once to, like even driving also. I'm practicing more than once to be automatically vigilant and not to kind of see myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, first of all, in the pen example, we're talking about a little child, right? With little perception of things. As we grow, if say you live in a country where you don't see sunlight, for example, you go to a different country and you see the sun for the first time, and somebody says, oh, that's the sun, like the ball of fire and stuff. And will you ever need to be reminded again? Would it ever be that, oh, what is that yellow thing? It's so amazing. It's so all encompassing that you don't need to be reminded of it again. Maybe if we have a little, if we are too distracted, or if we have some memory issues, it's possible we might need to ask again and again. So one thing is that we don't need to. It doesn't seem possible that we should be asking that again. But because we are distracted people, because
Yes.
our consciousness is so dispersed, we have so many other things which we think are so much more important, that we keep forgetting, and that is okay. That is why there are these sessions, these practices, these reminders that, okay, don't forget, remember, don't forget, remember, right? Simran, chanting, what is it? That is forcefully first trying to get yourself into that mode कि मुझे कुछ तो सोचना ही है, कुछ तो दिमाग में चैटर करना ही है, तो उसको राम का नाम पकड़ाओ, है ना? मतलब काइंड ऑफ दैट थिंग कि नोइंग कि मेरे से तो पीस नहीं होता है अभी, मेरे को तो चैटर ही करना है, तो चैटर की बजाय चैंट कर लो. Because I right now am not capable of directly jumping. So, but what she's saying here is, कि, see, if you know somebody is your father, right? अगर कुछ होता है, ये सब है, तो you know कि, okay, my father is there, he'll take care of it. You don't keep forgetting who will take care of things, for example. So all she is saying is, कि why do you forget that your father is there? Why do you feel anxious? Why do you feel panicky? Why do you feel fear? Once if you have experienced a father's power, a father's support, a father's love and capability once, कि नहीं वो है, वो देख लेंगे, आई एम बीइंग टेकन केयर ऑफ, बिग पिक्चर में, तो फिर तुम क्यों भूलते हो बार बार? भूलो, मतलब दैट्स फाइन, यू फॉरगेट, बट देन यू आर द वन हु सफर्स, राइट, टिल यू रिमेम्बर अगेन. And that is why wake up calls, challenges, pain, and suffering keeps visiting us, because when it visits us, it's only then that we remember that, oh, things are bigger than me. है ना, मतलब तो उस हिसाब से ये काफी अब मिस्ट्री एक हटती है बार 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 कि why is life the way it is, why do we feel it's hard, why are challenges there, because then I won't remember. I only remember when things are a bit hard. Did I answer your question? I don't know.
Yes, you did, ma'am. You did. Even in the initial question, as why should I remember? I'm feeling that I had a I had a video game. Growing up, I had a video game, and then I had my books. So the amount of care, like it came in a whole box. I was allowed to play only on weekends. I would carefully take it out, set it up, play it, and carefully take it out. Like take it back, put it inside that box exactly where it was, pack it, put it aside. My books, it's a totally different story. I bring the books, देखा ये हो गया, चलो कहीं कहीं भी रख देता हूँ, किचन में कहीं पे भी. So what I'm learning from this is the amount of focus and importance that I give to different things in my life is what is making them less, like making them stay with me or not stay with me. So what I am realizing is that maybe I'm considering the divine just like any other regular habit and not something important, which is why I'm asking, I'm even asking this question as to how. Because if I really know, like the father example, मेरे को मतलब मुझे कोई बोले कि ये आपके पापा है, तो I would never forget it because he's my father or even my mother.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's what I'm learning, that the importance and the focus I'm giving towards this is that needs to change. Yeah, that needs to change. Thank you.
Yeah, you got what it was saying. And there's in Savitri, I think there was a line that I'm forgetting, it was like कि मैं मना तो बहुत बार कर देता हूँ गॉड को, और जब हाँ बोलता हूँ तो इट्स लिम्पिंग यस, कि वो बार बार मेरे यहाँ पे आके नॉक करता है कि आर यू रेडी, आई मीन डू यू नो बाय योर पॉइंट, एंड हम लाइक अरे अरे बाद में आना, अभी तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें चल रही हैं. So say that, if say you have somebody who you really like, right? A friend, a girlfriend, a cousin, anybody, then people would not have to tell you, ki, oh, go, spend time with them, call them now, think about them.
Yes.
It just happens from inside, right? That you want to be with that person. If you like somebody's company, you will look for ways that, okay, let's do that on weekend. I'll see if they are interested, right? वो अंदर से ड्राइव आती है. बट अगर मेरा
Yes.
सवाल अभी ये है, एग्जैक्टली हाउ यू वर सेइंग, कि कैसे ना भूलूं, तो फिर इसमें ये दिखता है कि अभी प्यार ही नहीं हुआ, है ना. सो या एग्जैक्टली, इट्स वेरी नाइस. इट जस्ट शोज दैट ऑल्दो मैं बोलूं कुछ भी, बट माय रियल लाइफ शोज हाउ मच इम्पोर्टेंस आई एम गिविंग टू डिवाइन इन माय डे टू डे, है ना. अपनी सिंसेरिटी बार बार, इनसिंसेरिटी वन कैन सी.
Now also there is this part of, like, I'm remembering selfishness also. You know, if I'm getting instant gratification out of something, it makes it easy to remember versus doing something. Just like the example I've given, like the video game, it gives me instant satisfaction. Super Mario was interesting. किताबें एग्जाम तो 6 महीने के बाद है, अभी क्यों पढूं? So even that is also a very big factor in, segregating different things with different levels of importance. So मतलब भगवान को, मतलब मैंने मतलब डिवाइन को ऐसे कैसे मैं मतलब बिलीव करूं, मतलब दैट लेवल ऑफ बिलीफ मुझे कैसे आए कि मुझे लगे कि ओ गॉड, दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली इम्पोर्टेंट, no matter what, because the next second I'm breathing because of him or of the divine. So okay, so I have to be, it's a habit actually. I still have to think about it. I'll ask you a few more questions in the meantime.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Mm. Yashan, you too had unmuted. Yashan, did you unmute? I thought you did.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, Taru, what you were telling about that slavish compulsion और loving compulsion के बारे में जो आप बात कर रहे थे कि अगर सही में किसी से प्यार है, जो भी है, जीएफ है या कोई भी है या कोई एक नेबर है या व्हाटएवर, तो फिर कई बार क्या है कि हम खुद ही चले जाते हैं विदाउट एनी कोक्सिंग एंड कैजुअलिंग, ओके, एंड व्हाट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑल दिस सर्कल्स एंड ऑल दिस ग्रुप्स. So we are forcefully coaxed and cajoled that look, you have a divine nature and you need to address to it. Okay? But after all this cajoling and coaxing, also all this chanting and all this circles, also, um, how can we get into that loving compulsion kind of thing with the divine? So that is, I'm sorry, that is a that is a paradox that maybe we all fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we know that all these things are momentary, all this property, this degree, this qualification, this job, this relationship. बिकॉज दैट इज फॉर रॉक श्योर है कि मतलब कि जो भी हमारे रिलेशनशिप है, चाहे वो भाई बहन के हो, माँ बाप के हो, and we had many sons, daughters, and friends, and wife, and all that, spouses, and everything in past life, and in this life also we are on a journey. So how do I forget? So how do I get rid of all this and get into that loving compulsion kind of thing with divine? This is my question.
Yeah, Shan, I think, if you ask someone that, how do I fall in love? Tell me. There's no
No
answer
one would
to
answer.
that, है
Yeah,
ना?
sure.
तो उस हिसाब से जैसे अब अगर समझ लो, again, because Meera comes very strongly in that, if we ask that, how did Meera fall in love with Krishna? When everybody was telling her, okay, this doesn't make sense. Now you are belonging to this high, class family. You need so many traditions and you have so many, responsibilities or large रखनी है and stuff. और वो वहां पे जाके एक मंदिर में रह रही है ना, घर बार छोड़ के. तो मतलब बिकॉज शी, आई डोंट नो, मतलब देयर इज नो आंसर, बट अगर यही दिख जाए कि नहीं अभी मुझे प्यार नहीं है ना, फिर जब नेक्स्ट टाइम समथिंग गोज रॉन्ग और समथिंग, आई एम लाइक, अरे तूने मेरे साथ ये किया, कि व्हाई आर यू सो क्रूअल, देन यू कैन आल्सो लुक एट योरसेल्फ and question that, what importance am I giving him in my life, right? How much is my life full of that? That Kabir ji's doha, that सुख में सुमिरन सब करे दुख में करे ना को, सॉरी, दुख में सुमिरन सब करे सुख में करे ना कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे को होए. Like we've heard it so many times while growing up, but have we understood it, right? When times are good, nobody really remembers God, right? It's when the times are bad, then we are like, oh God, why are you doing this? Oh God, help me, help me, help me, help me. So, and the Doha is saying that if you are with the divine in your happiness, then most likely the shocks, the wake up calls will not even be needed to wake you up. So then there will be more of good kinds and not, I don't know whether that's true, but at least that's, and जैसे एक होता है ना, मे बी इट्स अ कैरेट ऑन द स्टिक के, अरे याद करो दुख चला जाएगा. मेरे ख्याल से दुख तो रहेगा, बट तुम्हें शायद एहसास ना हो उसका, ना, इट डजंट feel that sad or feel that challenging. So then, yeah, there's no answer to that thing, but yeah, it's a good question to have, is all I would say. So just finishing with this, so we took the second paragraph. Now we'll just go through the third one. So Jagan had already read it, but if we know that we did not know something, we were ignorant, then the moment we have the knowledge, I am sincerely asking how one can manage to forget. One might not know something. That is a fact. There are countless things one doesn't know. But the moment one knows them, the minute one has the experience, how can one manage to forget? Like, obviously, we don't experience it fully, right? We don't believe things fully, and that is why we forget. There's no other reason. So, within yourself, you have the divine presence. You know nothing about it for all kind of reasons. But still, the chief reason is that you're in a state of ignorance. Yet suddenly, by a clicking of circumstances, you become conscious of this divine presence. That is, you are before a fact. It is not imagination. It is a fact. It's something which exists. Then how do you manage to forget it once you have known it? So, again, pointing to the same thing. If I am forgetting, like Jagan was saying, then of course that means I don't fully believe it. It doesn't have that much credibility in my life. And how he was saying that something material, has instant gratification. And this, I don't know what it's really doing. So unless I am suffering so much, usually any kind of suffering, it could be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, I will not crave for it. Because अभी मेरे को बहुत attraction है, right? All that glitter, all the things seem so real and it seems to be giving me so much. तो ऐसे लगता है ये तो चलो साइड में हो ही रहा है. चलो we'll see. So at least knowing and acknowledging, I think, is also a step in a good direction, that I know now कि मेरे को मेरी sincerity दिख रही है. Although I wasn't planning to go ahead, it was just this much, but I think considering where we are, we should probably read it fully. So the next is this one. So before we move on, if there's any obviously comments or reflections, please share. And then we read, but still this state of ignorance is in us. So that was the next question that somebody had asked the mother.
I can read it.
Yeah, I have a thing to say. Yeah, Taru, many a times we get bewildered by this thing, na, that कि ये ignorance वाली जो चीज है ये एक ad infinitum kind of thing है.
I'm sorry, Sham. Are you finished?
Yeah, many a times we feel that जो ये ignorance वाली जो element है, that goes on till infinity and all that, and we
Hmm.
get bewildered and we get dazzled कि ये कभी खत्म होगा भी कि नहीं, and things like that. It keeps coming and it keeps haunting us कि sorry, I mean we all want कि जल्दी हो जाए and all that. Although we keep failing in our practice, we keep stepping back, and then again we are caught in that whirlpool kind of thing.
Hmm.
फिर अगेन लगता है कि इट इज लाइक रिपल्स इन अ पॉन्ड काइंड ऑफ थिंग कि वो एनसर्कल्ड होते जा रहा है. Means we want for that instant gratification kind of thing. We want here also that ये एक instant में हो जाए and all that, and then it keeps building up over and over again. Like एक माले के ऊपर दूसरा, दूसरा के ऊपर तीसरा, चौथा.
Yes, you're right. But when we say कि अरे कब होगा ये ignorance खत्म नहीं होती, so this is what we have just realized from this paragraph, right? कि जब मुझे उसको याद रखना है, तब मेरे पास उससे पहले 200 चीजें हैं जिसको मैं इम्पोर्टेंस दे रहा हूँ. और जब when something happens, then I lash out and cry कि अरे when will this problem end? तो it's not doesn't sound fair, right? Doesn't sound honest that why should you not face? सब कुछ अपने हाथ में लेके घूम रहे हैं और जब कुछ आता है तो सीधा रोने बैठ जाते हैं कि अरे मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, भगवान इतना अनकाइंड क्यों है? तो आई मीन एम आई पेइंग द प्राइस, एम आई बिल्डिंग दैट मसल जिससे कि मुझे वो याद रहे? और अगर नहीं तो फिर ये जो क्वेश्चन है, I think I know I've shared this before, but once in the very beginning only times, I had asked Acharya Prashant, once we were during those days when we were able to personally sit in front of him and talk that, like, why don't I become the truth now that I know the truth? I think I do. अब तो मुझे क्वेश्चन भी बड़ा फनी लग रहा है कि I told him कि I have a understanding of what truth is or what false is. Why don't I become it? So he said that you have not even paid the first installment and you are asking that when will you get the possession? So he just said, pay the price. Pay the price and it will come. So यहाँ पे I think that's all I can think of. Okay. What am I actually doing? What price am I paying? What importance am I giving truth in my life for me to demand that now I should just be the truth, be simplicity, be love? So that's something that I can just, there's no answer to that, right? But ये question एक important question है to have in yourself, right? कि अगर कुछ नहीं हो रहा है तो am I sincere? Am I doing everything I can? If not, and if I want it, I should be more sincere. It just धीरे 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 the drive increases is all I can think of right now. So I'll share the screen.
Sure. Okay, so the question he asks is, the sadhak asks, but still the state of ignorance is in us. Mother says, why and why? Because you are convinced that it is a normal state and that one can't do otherwise. But the moment you know that it is an absolutely abnormal state, contrary to the truth, how does it happen that it can be repeated? It is simply because you are not convinced. It's because when you have the experience of the divine presence, it seems to you something fabulous, miraculous, and extraordinary, and almost abnormal. And so, this sublime state, how can I keep it? It is absolutely contrary to my existence. But this indeed is the stupidity. For this sublime state is the natural state, and it's what you constantly are that is not natural, but a falsification, a deformation. You see, a state which is not normal. But to have the knowledge and live in the truth, this indeed is the normal state. Then how does it happen that you have had it? It is over. The abnormal state disappears. You become normal and live in the truth. Once one is in the truth, how does one manage to come out of it again?
We'll pause here. It's a bit longer one. So are we with it? Like, are we understanding what is being said? They're talking about the state of ignorance, right? That we were discussing. Why are we in ignorance? Why do we always choose the illusionary, the materialistic, the thing with instant gratification as the truth? And why do we keep placing the divine in the back burner, or, like kal ana types? Because we are convinced that this is normal, right? That me forgetting that things are being taken care of, or there are bigger things at play, or this, I'm just limited, but there's something in me which is unlimited. Those are just words for me most of the time, because I think this is what life is. But the moment you know that it is an absolutely abnormal state, okay, abhi, because everybody around me believes that, or is saying that, or is asserting that, I feel that this is normal, and say a Kabir or a Nanak or a, I don't know, whoever is abnormal, right? Those are exceptions to the rule, or those are weird things. So just reading this again, but the moment you know that it is an abnormal, absolutely abnormal state, contrary to the truth, how does it happen that it can be repeated? It is simply because you are not convinced. It's because when you have experience of the divine presence, it seems to you something fabulous, miraculous, and extraordinary, and almost abnormal. And so, this sublime means extraordinarily beautiful. Whenever we are touched, whenever we are in that space, it's beyond the regular things that we experience, right? But it says that the sublime state, how can I keep it? It is absolutely contrary to my existence. I don't know how to hold simple joys, right? आई थिंक वी हैड डिस्कस्ड दिस बिफोर कि एक छोटा सा गुड न्यूज आता है, कोई प्रमोशन मिलता है, कोई कुछ होता है, आई गेट सो एक्साइटेड दैट आई जस्ट डोंट नो हाउ टू हैंडल इट. ये जो एक सबलाइन स्टेट है विच इज बियॉन्ड माय नॉर्मल एग्जिस्टेंस, एप टू मच ब्यूटी, हाउ डू आई कीप इट? Because it does not feel natural to me to have so much joy. It's so weird. Like, I'm looking for joy, I'm craving for happiness. And yet, when the path is so clear to me right in front, I say, अरे ये तो, हवा की बातें हैं. I do believe that because I don't accept it as my reality. So that is indicative of the fact that I am not giving it the stature, the audha it deserves. But this indeed is stupidity, for this sublime state is the natural state. And it's what you constantly are that is not natural, but a falsification, a deformation. You see a state which is not normal. कि अभी जैसे श्याम, you were saying कि कैसे प्यार करूं, for example, how do I fall in love? So here she's saying that falling in love or being in love is the normal state, and how we are living, this cautious, well preserved, manicured life, this, she's saying, is actually abnormal. And, our lives are a proof of that. This restlessness, this lack of कि हो क्या रहा है, चल क्या रहा है, जा क्या रहा हूँ, life है क्या. I mean, it's all, and the amount of mental diseases that are increasing, the stresses, the बच्चों में इतनी सारी issues बढ़ रहे हैं, especially in the Western countries, they're all indicating that something is not right at the root of things. So just finishing this, and then I'll, of course, welcome reflection, the last thing. But to have the knowledge and live in the truth, this indeed is the normal state. Then how does it happen that once you have lived it, it is over? The abnormal state disappears, you become normal and live in the truth. Once one is in the truth, how does one manage to come out of it again? Okay, this is the next question. Sorry, kind of. So, yeah, anything before, we also should end. It's a bit long. Maybe we'll take it next time. But at least this one, let's just take this one. But this anything on this paragraph.
Reading this, I'm convinced, like, it's not just ignorance that, like, it's not just ignorance that I am experiencing. Uh, it's also a very humanly consciousness, if that's even a word. I'm saying this because, so long I have associated the divine, just like I've associated my mom, like, my mother, my father. The relationship I've had with the divine is just like my mother and father. I always look at mother and, Srima, mother, and I think you are like my mother. You take care of me. I can talk to you. I can tell you things, and I know you'll give me the direction, but the ignorance that I'm facing here is they are more than my parents, and I need to incorporate that in my head because to remember the divine continuously, the challenge I have had so far is like this. Let's say I'm doing something. If I say mother, if I just remember mother once, and then I get to doing it, it's actually a natural habit for me. But since I'm associating the mother just like my mother and comparing mother just like my mother, if in my house, if I sit and call my mother every single time before I do anything, she'll rush to me and she'll tell me, what is wrong with you? मुझे तो अपना काम करने दो. So so far I've been thinking that, okay, you know what, if I call for mother every single time, like, even if I'm opening, like, if I'm starting my work, or even if I'm going outside or getting grocery or cooking, if I'm calling mother every time, wouldn't she be like, fed up with me? Like, why are you calling me like non-stop? I have other things to do. Maybe she may think that, and maybe that is a limiting factor for me at least, that sometimes I just take a back step. नहीं, इस बार तो नहीं बुलाऊंगा, मतलब I can do this, and right? Why should I really disturb mother? But I don't think they get disturbed. At least that's what I'm thinking. Like, they are not. They are more than any parent. I think. Yeah, yeah. That thing I need to convince myself that, mother will not be vexed because of my, constant calling for just about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jagmeet. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful realization and exactly something that, the ego says, कह रहे थे ये तो मैं कर सकता हूँ, है ना? So when mother is saying, कि show me everything, right? Don't hide. Like, let me be with you. You know how it said, that पहले जैसे इतनी सारी डिफरेंट थी वेदांतिक में, क्योंकि ये प्रोसेसेस करने और ये क्रियास करनी है, और this kind of offering is there. Even with Sri Aurobindo, it started with, aspiration, rejection, surrender, when the sadhaks were there in the ashram. And then they said that, finally it was just coming to this, कि now only one thing is what the sadhaks are being asked, is love the mother. But do I do that? Like right now, you said that I'm putting her in an equivalent position as my parents. But the question is, honestly, am I? Am I actually even putting her at an equivalent position as my physical parent? I doubt that the answer is yes. We don't, because material, खून का रिश्ता is more to us, right? So, and this is, it's like, again, Acharya Prashant says कि ये मिट्टी खराब है, मतलब जिससे हम बने हैं, from where we are being raised, there is issues with that. So again, that is why so much transformation and thing needs to happen, and one has to realize that I'm more than the mitti, right? Because if I remain the mitti, so it's just taking me down the dumps, because coming from stones and that jadata. So, but mother says, there's a beautiful example. I'm not remembering the exact thing, but I don't know who he was, which sadhak it was. But you know how at that time everybody used to take mother's permission and tell mother, okay, mother, I have to do this. Should I? I'm going here. Should I? So there was this sadhak who had written to mother, I'm going to Kanpur or somewhere and I'm taking this train. And mother, you please take care. You know how it's said that you should offer everything. Okay, mother, I'm going out of the house. I'm going here. So you take care. Mother, I'm sleeping. So, everything has to be kind of, but, हमें लगता है फर्स्ट के सॉरी आई एम पॉजिंग हियर कि ये मेरे लिए हो रहा है काइंड ना कि ये तो मैं खुद कर सकता हूँ बट जितना वो भी एक मेरी ईगो है विच सेज कि ये तो मैं कर लूंगा बट ये जो मैं ऑफर कर रहा हूँ ये जो बोल रहा हूँ ये उनके लिए कुछ नहीं हो रहा ये मेरे लिए ही रिमेम्बरिंग हो रही है कि व्हेन आई एम सेइंग कि मदर रिमेम्बर me or take care of me. I am remembering the mother that moment. Are you seeing that thing? तो वो मेरी ही वो है अपने ऊपर मैं वो कर रहा हूँ कि चलो दिस मोमेंट ऑल्सो आई एम रिमेम्बरिंग दिस ऑल्दो लगता है ऐसे है कि मैं उनको फोक कर रहा हूँ और उनको तंग कर रहा हूँ For his example, me, the train met with an accident, like a very big thing. But somehow what happened was कि it felt as if कि जैसे ट्रेन उठी और किसी ने धीरे से पकड़ के वापस ट्रैक्स पे रख दी. Like not a single thing, एक भी डब्बा इधर से उधर नहीं हुआ, किसी को मेजर कोई चोट नहीं लगी. It felt as if, और ये this is written. It felt as if कि the train was uprooted and then somebody gently kept it back on the track. So later, when they met and he told the mother, कि mother, this happened. So mother said, हाँ मैं, what do I do? You told me the train, but you didn't tell me your birth and your seat number. So I had to pick the whole thing up. So मतलब this is a actual conversation that took place. तो मेरे को मैं लगता है कि अरे मैं क्या छोटी छोटी चीजों में बोल रहा हूँ और वहां पे वो बैठ के बोल रहा है कि अरे बताओ तो सही है ना एंड देन व्हेन समथिंग हैपेंस आई वुड से कि अरे मैंने तो इतना फेथ करा था मेरे साथ तो ये हो गया बहुत गैप्स हैं इन द ऑनेस्टी इन द ट्रूथ ऑफ थिंग्स इन द सिंसेरिटी ऑफ थिंग्स तो जो भी मैं कर रहा हूँ वो मैं अपने ऊपर ही कर रहा हूँ अपने लिए ही कर रहा हूँ डिवाइन इज तो देयर राइट इन मी हम यहाँ खून के रिश्ते की बात करें वो आत्मा में है विच इज इवन मोर सूक्ष्म राइट बट आई डोंट सी दैट बिकॉज मेरी केपेबिलिटी वहां तक पहुंचने की शायद अभी नहीं है बट जस्ट नोइंग के अभी नहीं है कोई बात नहीं बट कभी तो होगी इफ आई कैन जस्ट रिकॉग्नाइज दिस एंड से इट उसमें भी आई फील इट्स ग्रेट या आई नो मैं अभी नहीं देख पाता हूँ बट मुझे इतना तो मैं मानता हूँ कि होगा जरूर right so I make it more real for me every time I say this I make it more real for me and it we won't even realize when that shift happens but am I giving that some time है ना कितना टाइम मैं उसको दिन में दे रहा हूँ एक मोमेंट भी उस फुल ग्रेटफुलनेस की मेरे दिन में आती है क्या सिंसियरली नॉट टू टेल टू पीपल बस खुद से पूछना है ना और अगर नहीं आती तो मुझे थोड़ा सा टाइम और देना है ना उसी का दिया हुआ टाइम है जो कि मैं गिन गिन के 2 मिनट भी नहीं दे पाता हूँ ब्रेथ पे 5 सेकेंड भी नहीं दे पाता हूँ मतलब थोड़ी सॉरी स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स है और जब तक अच्छा चल रहा है चले तो जब जब तमाचा मिलेगा तब दूंगा बट आई डोंट हैव टू वेट फॉर स्लैप्स but if I don't feel the need right now let me wait and slaps so will come divine is very kind. He will keep sending slaps that we need, and that's good.
Thank you.
Your question also reminded me of a conversation I was listening. It was Alugda, and somebody asked him a question saying that that most of the psychologists say that if we have problem, like we should discuss it with our friends, we should have a connecting support and all. But you always say that we should say to the divine. So I don't understand. Like why would like I for my small things I should disturb the divine? Divine is doing such big things. He's looking after the galaxies, he's looking after the moon and everything. Why do I trouble divine with my problems? And I should not tell it to the friends. So Alugda laughed. Alugda said that, of course, you can say it to your friends and all, but who are our friends as well? Like, who is the friend? If we actually ask, it is actually the divine who is the friend. And he said that like when you said, like, if I think कि इतनी बार बुला लिया, अब 10वीं बार बुलाऊंगा तो, like even my mother sometimes feel really this thing कि फिर से बुला लिया, like how would Shrima or the Divine Mother feel? And Alokda says that, that is our smallness, that we are not able to call for 100 and first, after calling 100 times, and after that we need, it is our smallness because he's there, like Taru said, he's actually sitting this, just give me, take one step, I'll take 10. So I mean, that really touched me. And then, it kind of reminded me of my own experience, that, like I would ask the mother that, I don't have a habit of getting up early, which really I think that my routine gets upset. So can you please help me, mother, that I can get up early in the morning? And I don't want any alarm clock. You become my alarm clock. And, it so happened that suddenly I used to wake up on my own, and I didn't have to even watch the time. Whenever I used to see, it used to be around 7 o'clock, when I had to wake up. And imagine, mother made me wake up, but because there is so much still tamas inside, I used to think, "Arey, abhi to 20 minute hai na alarm ke liye. I will just again sleep." And I used to do that, and it kept happening. And after a month, I thought, my goodness, mother is waking me up. Imagine, literally every day I wake up, now, and it is, I know it is she who has made me, because there's no way I could wake up on my own without an alarm. And even then I'm not waking up. So, like, then my prayer, I said, mother, can you please even take this tamas away, that, I know you wake me up now, can you please do that? And I felt so happy that that kind of a relationship, where I didn't do not even like, it did not even come to my mind कि she's going to judge me, कि देख अब इतना तो कर दिया इसके लिए कि मैं इसको उठा भी देती हूँ, अब ये मुझे बोल रही है अपनी तमस भी निकाल दे। मतलब I did not feel that. And that's the beauty, when we, like, for me at least, that's the beauty with Divine, because not even a drop of judgment is there कि इतना तो देते हैं हम, और फिर इसका खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा। I still tell her, अब मेरी तमस भी निकाल दो, अब मतलब, and she does it. She actually does it. I can see the changes that comes. And and I think that's really the beauty to associate with Divine, that you do not feel judged. And like he's so, sometimes तो मतलब मेरा पूरा दिल भर जाता है इस बात से कि माय गुडनेस, की मतलब इतना मैं मांगती रहती हूँ छोटी छोटी बातों पे, अब तमस भी निकाल दो, अब ये भी कर दो, एंड शी स्टिल कीप डूइंग इट। मतलब एक बार भी ऐसा नहीं बोलती है कि you're a big girl now, or you can do it on your own, but she's always there. At the same time, I also get, I also get signs where she will say, no, you have to now do it, you have to learn it to do yourself as well. But yeah, so I just thought on what you shared about this.
Although it feels abrupt, but we'll be ending the session here. So thank you so much for joining in. We had like nothing planned, and yet, the beauty in a lot of things, like it just touches you so deeply, and so much grace to be able to touch that beauty. Yeah. Sham, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, Taru, hope that one day I will be able to get rid of all that jarta of that stone and ape. Okay. And that childlike enthu of what Nandini and Jagan, these two people were sharing. Maybe I will be able to graduate to that level.
Yeah. So there's no maybe. How mother says that thy victory is certain. So that is not a possibility that it doesn't happen. It's just, how we are either standing against it, or we are kind of making way for it. And, the problem is that we have to fight our own selves to make way, right? That's how it gets hard. But if we keep seeing that, if we keep start, getting aside, कि नहीं, नहीं, let it do, let me see, this is good for me. If we are able to make those, decisions with surrender, with grace, with offering, things just become faster and easier. But there's no maybe. Just know that in your being, there's no maybe. It's tough, I know, to even
Yeah,
say
that maybe
it
if also
without
jarta
maybe.
kind of thing of that stone and
Yeah.
ape. example.
Yeah, good one. Yes, exactly. You got it.
That may be also a demon that is hiding inside me in the deep substratums of my mind, in the northwest corner of my heart. I don't know where. Difficult to diagnose, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much, and just thanking Grace for this session, for this company, the delight of the things that we read. And may this does not remain just, another entertainment, just another interesting thing that I heard or read today. May this come into my life, and may I become more open to grace and live a more simpler and expanded life. So thank you so much, and we'll meet
Thank you,
soon.
Taru. Thank you for facilitating.